Thank you for coming to Starbright Storytime. This is the review of books from week 7. The first book is Drummer Hoff, adapted by Barbara Emberley, illustrated by Ed Emberley. This book has a wonderful style of illustration. It is a great source of artistic inspiration and a nod to the artistic influences of the 1960s. The next book was The Christmas Day Kitten by James Herriot, with illustrations by Ruth Brown. Ruth Brown's illustrations are soft and realistic and lovely. And this is a sweet little tale based on a true story of one of the clients of James Herriot. James Herriot was an animal care specialist, and there are several books that he's published, stories about his experiences in his field of work. And this particular version of this story, actually the story is not much different, but this particular book has really beautiful illustrations by Ruth Brown. They couple nice together. It's a sweet book. And with the Christmas holiday, I wanted to make sure to get in some kind of Christmas book. To be honest, I wanted to include books. I did not find any for Hanukkah, which preceded Christmas this year, nor did I find any for Kwanzaa. However, I have since encountered a few books, storybooks about Kwanzaa, that I will include in next year's lineup. I don't mean to promote or exclude any one type of person or another of any kind. So my channel is meant to be all inclusive. The next book was The Little Engine That Could by Watty Piper. This is the complete original edition. It looks like an old book. The illustrations clearly are from a time long ago. But it's a sweet story of perseverance and keeping a positive attitude, a positive outlook. Also, The Little Engine That Could is a classic storybook, regardless of who has adapted it or who has illustrated the book. I'm sure there are far more contemporary issues of this book, this story, The Little Engine That Could. The next book was Millions of Cats by Wanda Gog. This one here, I feel like it's an unusual book. For one thing, the illustrations are all black and white. It's not quite as exciting for children. I believe this book has this very specific niche. Has a little bit of a lesson to it, however. That's nice. And then the next book was Lobsterman by Dahlov Ipcar. Another simple, sweet book. It's the story of a young boy and the field of work as he follows his father's footsteps, learning from his father, learning a skilled trade. Nothing too exciting happens in this storybook. This one makes for a good bedtime story because it is a consistent storyline. And then the next book we have is The Brave Little Crab. Here we have another far more contemporary book, The Brave Little Crab, written by Beth Costanzo, illustrated by Ekaterina Iyina. One really nice thing about this book is that it highlights the capabilities and possibilities for anyone, regardless of disability or impairment. The illustrations are also bright and lively. As I said, this is a contemporary book. Definitely a more modern style of illustration. Bright and lively, and the little crab friend kind of saves the day despite the obstacles and challenges that he faces in life. So, this book again emphasizes the individuality and how everyone has a place in the world and how everyone has a reason for being, and everyone can be accepted. Very nice little storybook. Again, another one that's great for a bedtime story. This is a wonderful book to add to your library or your children's library. It teaches kids to be inclusive. The next book was Island Boy, with story and pictures by Barbara Cooney. Barbara Cooney has published many books and has built herself quite a reputation as a children's storybook author and illustrator. This is a good bedtime story as it, again, has a sort of a consistent energy. Not too much drama. So it makes it easier for a child to drift off to sleep. Beautiful illustrations. As I said, Barbara Cooney has many more children's books, so you probably encounter one or more in the lifespan of your child, but these also make great gifts and make great additions to your children's library. We start getting onto a theme here of maritime subject. Finally, Time of Wonder by Robert McCloskey. This is another very old book. Nice illustrations. The paper on which it's printed is a bit faded. I feel like it's not the best quality paper for printing illustrations, but the illustrations are actually very nice. This book also makes a good bedtime story. There is a little bit of excitement in the tale, but it's just sort of meanders through the experience of summertime on the coast. And that's a story a lot of children identify with and wouldn't have a problem falling asleep listening to, despite the storm that comes through in the storyline. I'm not sure if this book is still in print. Anyway, those are the storybooks for week 7. I'd love to hear some book recommendations. You could send an email. The email address is starbrightstorytime@gmail.com. So again, thank you for your subscriptions, for your likes, and thank you for coming to my channel, Starbright Storytime. I hope you've enjoyed.